Client calls the VA outside of the shift for an emergency task, but adds the pay. What do you guys think? Red flag, green flag? And three, two, one, go.
I love money.
Whoa. I love this. I love this. There are two opposing sides.
I
Ate
love
Sweet, what do you
money.
think?
In Tagalog, alipin ako na salapin.
I have a red flag.
Red.
Oh,
A red flag.
Hey, it's me, Julia.
Hello, everyone. It's Sweet.
Good day to everyone. My name is Dwayne, and right now we're going to be welcoming you to another episode here at the Sphere Rocket Podcast Network presents the Cosmic Couch. Okay, we tried. We kind of succeeded, like, I don't know, maybe 30-40%, or I'm just being biased, but I don't want to try it again. Let's just go on with this
Yeah, it
episode.
was just a few
kind to
milliseconds. No problem.
Just be kind to us. We're in the Philippines. The internet here.
Regardless, it's a work in progress. We're just gonna get better and better the more episodes we do. So yeah, let's aim for next time. We're gonna say it all at the same time at the Cosmic Couch. So yeah, that's some improvement. Well,
yeah, I
regardless,
totally agree.
yeah. So I think we're gonna be having an interesting episode for today. So Sweet.
Yes.
What do you think?
Yeah, but before we start our today's episode, please guys, if you are enjoying this episodes of Sphere Rocket Podcast Network presents Cosmic Couch, don't forget to click that follow button or subscribe button so you will never miss an episode. And so going to our episode for today, we have prepared a very exciting game. Yay!
Yeah, I totally agree.
Okay.
This is kind of different. This episode is really, really different because we are now going deeper into the game, but also it's also the content of the whole podcast. So I hope you guys enjoy this episode. It's kind of different for this episode.
Yeah, and in line with our first episode, which I think it kind of trend-ish, because a lot of people are really watched it and was intrigued with the red flag thing. So in line with that, we will be playing today the red flag, green flag game. So it's a game that we just invented. So I think we're the pioneers of this. We're claiming it. So
We got ourselves ready for red flag and green flag. I don't know. Red kind of looks orange, but it's the brightness thing, I guess.
it depends
red
on
and green.
if you're colorblind.
Yeah. Since we don't
Yeah.
have legit flags with us, we're totally using our phones, making use of it.
Yeah, we have to be resourceful, and yeah, so this is just an easy game. So each of us will give a characteristic or a scenario of a VA client relationship setting, and then all of us will determine if we'll have our opinion if it's a green flag or a red flag based on our opinion, and of course our conversation will go along with that.
Okay, so I guess shall we get started then with the first question or the first scenario situation?
Yeah, so let's get started. Of course, let's start. I guess the best way to start this is with our red flag. Resident red flag, Dwayne.
Okay,
Go
fine.
ahead.
The best one for that. Okay, but resident red flag guy here. Okay, so my first situation scenario, it's actually two, but I'm gonna combine it kind of like in a one scenario. So it goes, which one is more of a red flag and which one is more of a green flag for you in this two situations? So situation A is an employee that would always do overtime just to finish tasks. And the second one is an employee who always does his or her tasks ahead of time, but doesn't do anything afterwards, like right after the shift, but he always finish all of his or her assigned tasks. So for the first one, is it a green flag or a red flag?
Hmm.
Oh, actually, that's interesting. Okay, so I guess the other, would you still consider the second option a red flag? An employee who always does his or her task ahead of time, but just slacks off or lazes off after doing all of his tasks.
You
Red
mean
or green
it's
flag?
still in the working
Mhm.
time?
Yeah, still in the working time, pretty much, but he finished his or her task.
Is there a neutral flag? Kidding.
A beige
So,
flag.
uh,
Yeah.
just
It's
imagine yourself as you are the client that has this VA. What
The
would you
first
consider
few
that?
phrase that you mentioned, like really diligently does the task, is a green
Yeah.
flag. But then when you mentioned the second phrase, which is lazes off, it then becomes a red flag. So maybe it's a both. It's
Mhm.
a mix of both, I guess.
Okay, I guess that's something that we can discuss. So, first, okay, we didn't get your answer though. Is it red flag or green flag? It's just one or the other. There's no neutral flag. So for me, it's a green flag.
I'm
Hmm.
also on the green.
Sweet
I
I
is
mean,
kind of undecided.
think. Wait, I'm still thinking. I'm
Uh,
overthinking.
if
as-
I would also explain a little bit because
Wait, hold your explanation, Julie.
oh,
Let's
I'm
wait
so
for Sweet's
sorry.
answers first.
So sorry.
We
Wait,
need to.
I'm just
I'm now a red
okay.
flag.
I think. Wait, you post your no first.
It's a green flag for me.
Your
An employee who
flag.
does his or her tasks ahead of time, but pretty much just lazes around for the rest of the shift.
I think okay. For me, it's a green flag as well. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
so
So
before we
let's.
get to that,
Yeah.
yeah, let's discuss the first one. So we all agree that it's a red flag. I mean, an employee who would do overtime just to finish tasks. Normally it would be good, like, oh, he's working so hard that it doesn't matter to him or her just to finish the task. So let's start off with you, Sweet. Why do you think it's a red flag if someone would go overtime just to finish his or her task?
For me, especially if it's not paid, let's just put that into the context. So if it's not paid and it's continuously or the employee is continuously doing that, it means that the employee is overloaded with tasks. So that's one thing. But this is kind of tricky because it can also be the employee is also lazy off in work. That's why he or she goes overtime. But let's put it in a context where the employee is continuously going overtime because they are overloaded with tasks. So that is easy red flag because of course there is a miscommunication in that area because first the VA is not communicating to its client that they are overloaded with tasks, and also in the client part it is not also like that is also like kind of given that it's not intentional. So there's a lack of like assessment in that area because when you are monitoring your VAs, of course you also make sure that they are not overloaded or working extra hours and lacking of boundaries as well in that area. So that is not sustainable and not also healthy. So easy red flag on that area.
Yeah, that totally makes sense because that means that there's a problem. It doesn't necessarily mean that the person is the problem. It could be a problem on the employer's side of things. It's just in terms of management. So, how about your thoughts on that, Julia?
I think it's also subjective, just like what Ali Sweet mentioned earlier, right? Like it depends on the situation. It's either that's why the VA made overtime because on that time of duty, he or she wasn't doing what he or she was supposed to do, or he or she was just overloaded with a lot of tasks. So it's very, very subjective and it really depends on the situation. But either way, no one should be working outside of work time, right? Outside of shift. So basically, yeah.
needs
It's
to
a
be
red flag.
healthy, like a healthy work-life balance. Because again, as Sweet mentioned, it's not sustainable. So that means something's wrong with the management or the amount of tasks he or she is doing, or maybe worst comes to worst, it's the person is just really slow, or she's just really just lazes around. It's kind of like a habit. So I guess it's something that can be fixed and should be fixed if your employee is constantly doing overtime. And yeah, that's definitely a good step if you wanted to fix it. And the second question that we have is an employee who's like, it's going to be the opposite. An employee who always does his or her task ahead of time, like really fast, but doesn't do anything afterwards, which is, we all said green flags. So Sweet, I guess let's start with you again. Why would you say that this is more of a green flag than a red flag?
Well, for me, it's a green flag given that the quality of work is there. So meaning the employee or the VA is really like skillful in that area of what they are doing with when it comes to their task. So for example, a video editor. So they are fast in editing a particular video because they are used to it and they're very skillful to it. However, I agree with Julie when it comes to like it's kind of like a beige flag. So a beige flag is like either a green flag or a red flag because when you're done with your task and you you see that your team still have like work to do or a load of work to do and you're not really like proactively trying to help, although it's yeah, I agree, it's not sustainable if it's regularly like you're regularly like getting the load of other coworkers in order for you to I don't advocate for that, but it's a matter of also like a time management. So of course you want to maximize all of like the productivity in the span of 8 hours, so you can also communicate that with the employer or the client as well if you think that the job was too easy for
Yeah,
you.
but
So
let's
yeah,
just say that the job is really well done. Like it's like what you would expect for someone to finish his job. He just does it like he or she just does it like really fast. So would you still consider it like totally not so green flag, but kind of leaning towards a red flag, or would it change your mind that it's actually a pretty good thing in general?
I think technically that's a green flag because if you're doing your job well, at the end of the day, that's the goal. As long as it's quality work, it doesn't matter, I think, how much time you put in it. So I think that, yeah, that's my opinion about it.
Okay, and how about you? Oh,
Julia.
Oh, me? Oh my gosh.
who else can I talk to, Julia? I mean, there's Sweet. Is there someone
How about you? We're
Um,
three in here.
oh, oh,
Three.
okay. Okay.
Okay.
So going back about the VA being lays us off, right? That's the situation. I for me it's a green flag. Like the moment you mentioned it, it was really a green flag for me because the tasks has been done. So it's kind of a normal intuition that oh, I have to finish all of this. I'm so motivated to finish this early as possible so that I can have a lot of downtime or free time. So like if that's the goal of the VA, then it has been achieved, and maybe there are other things, right? I mean, he or she could consider some stuff like asking coworkers what else he or she could do more since he or she is done with the tasks. The VA is done with the tasks, everything that the VA needs to do, right? So it's kind of like a green flag for me because like what Adesweet mentioned, the quality of work is there and that kind of characteristic, you finish that as early as possible. And since the quality is there, it shows competitiveness. So I think it's also a green flag. It's also a good trait when you want to do that as early as possible because there's in the Philippines there is what we call the mañana habit, right? Mañana meaning in Tagalog mamayana habit. So for those who don't understand that, that means I'll do it later or let me just finish that later. I'm just gonna put that on my backlog. So there's the kind of habit that most Filipinos do. So With that being said, it's totally negating that kind of usual habit, or yeah, it's totally a red flag when talk about manana habits. So yeah, I would really say that it's a green flag because you get to finish the tasks as early as possible. So yeah, that's my take.
Like 100%. For me too. That's why it's a total green flag for me, as negative as it sounds, like lazing around for the rest of the shift. Because you paid someone to do this task and he does it like probably a lot faster than someone you would pay. So would you rather pay two people doing the same job, or would you just pay one person doing it for have the same job? So I think that means that you have someone really talented that's he's able to do it fast. And pretty much for me, that's what I observe in what we have here. I'm not sure if it's just us here in the Philippines. Like, people are making fun of the situation, like if in the other countries you would reach your quota fast, everyone's going to say, okay, well done, congratulations, good job. But here, if you reach your quota so fast, and your boss are going to be, okay, you know what, that means that we could utilize you more, so let's increase your quota higher. Like, for you're not going to have a higher pay, you're just going to have a higher quota because they think they can utilize you more. So that's the kind of thinking why a lot of people as well, they can do the job fast, but they tend to do it slowly, just to make their superior supervisor know that they're utilizing most of their time. Where I think a lot of people would be more comfortable using their a lot of their time, their potential, doing things as fast as they can, if it's not risking the quality of their work. As we've talked to, if if he or she knows that the boss is not going to care what he does for the rest of the shift as long as he finishes his job. I mean, personally, that's going to be the ideal working environment that I wanted to be at, because we all wanted that kind of downtime. I mean, we're still respecting the time that we have. We're going to be in front of the computer if you're a VA, or you're still going to be in the office if you're an office worker. But, at least you don't need to pretend that you're still not finished with the task, just to give that illusion that you're still paying off and you're going to be comfortable. Like, okay, I've done my task, so I can do anything I want. And it's fine with your boss. So that's going to be a more realistically, chill environment at work, I would say.
Yeah, and just to add, there are a lot of, like, since we do interviews, right? There are a lot of VAs with their clients that mention, I don't know if they share this on your end, but they've already shared this on my end during our interviews, wherein they shared an experience where the client would just encourage the VA to rest or sleep, not even have screenshot monitors with them, or like, yeah, just to, like, if you finish the task, you can have your time to rest and sleep if you want to. So those are kind of, those are like different situations, very subjective. Again, it really depends on the situation, it really depends on the client. But like, yeah, that's also one of the green flags, I guess, to have
Yeah.
clients like those, right?
I was gonna bring that up. Like, I've talked to VAs having clients like that. Like, they don't care what the VA does their entire shift, as long as their task for that day is done. Then it's his time. So yeah, that's one of the good things about some of the clients. Although that not all clients are gonna be like that, but if you have that kind of client and you like that kind of working environment, then really great for you. But yeah, oh sweet. What about you? You agree with what we talked about there?
Yeah, yeah, totally agree with you both. I think you have said everything that are also my thoughts. So I was just agreeing with you both with when it comes to like having quality work in really. So yeah,
You know what? Maybe we are all like that. That's why we said green flag, and we're too guilty to say red flag, because that means that we're saying bad things about ourselves.
we don't know.
Well,
Just
there are
kidding.
confessions happening
There are
today,
confessions
folks.
happening now. I'm kidding. That's why sometimes, as we mentioned in the first episode, we feel so bad that we're doing, with the benefits and the, with the generosity of Stu Rocket does our employees, we still feel that we're not doing enough to, make up for those generosity. That's why we try to do 101% or more to make sure that all our tasks are done, and the quality as well of the work that we are doing. So yeah, thank you so much everyone for answering my really fun and interesting questions. So let's go on with the other questions that you guys had. So Julia, what's your question
Yeah,
for
let's do it. First question. Okay, this actually situational. So I've got two. First, client calls the VA outside of the shift for an emergency task, but adds a pay. What do you guys think? Red flag, green flag? And three, two, one, go.
I love money.
Whoa. I love this. I love this. There are two opposing sides.
I
Ate
love
Sweet, what do you
money.
think?
In Tagalog, alipin ako na salapi.
I have a red flag.
A red.
No, you
A
can
red
only have
flag.
one.
Okay, if it's just one, if I need to choose, that would say it's a red flag.
Okay.
How about you, Julia?
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
you need to also give your answer.
Okay. Ay. Hindi ko alam. I don't know actually. But like,
Or you're not prepared for your own questions.
I know, right?
What?
I was just depending on your answers.
Okay.
But like, yeah. Oh, this
Okay.
one. Okay, I'll go with this na lang.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so
Okay, go.
now.
Explain. Yeah,
Explain.
let's
Okay.
start. Yeah, please do, Kuya Dwayne. Start off.
Okay, so for me, it's a red flag, but it's a case to case basis. But if it's like it happens like once in a blue moon, it's an actual emergency, then I'd be happy to do it. But if it does happen like weekly, daily, and like really regular, then something's wrong. It's kind of disrupting the respecting the time of the employee. So that's why I think you need to you need to be considerate of the time that you agreed upon, unless of course it's like a life or death or like bankruptcy or something. If it's that kind of case, then yeah, you have the right to do that, but just
Okay.
don't expect the other person to be able to do it. Just be thankful if he or she is able to do it.
Yeah. Indeed, you've got a point there. Ate Sweet, what do you think? With a green flag.
Yeah, I think I said my piece. I'm just kidding. No, with me it's a green flag because you said actually you said the magic word compensated. As long as for me, as long as it's compensated, I think it's a very subjective discussion. Of course, obviously you had a different response with us. So when it comes to my opinion, I think it's okay as long as I'm also available at that time and it's also compensated because it's fine with me. And I also agree with Wayne actually with the frequency of it. So if it happens like frequently, I think that can also be negotiated when it comes to like the compensation as well. Again, we are all with win-win situation and also exchanging values. So you want me to do a certain task and I'm giving you value, so I think you also need to give me something in return. Yeah, so that's my opinion about that.
Yeah, as long as
Perfectly
it's not
said.
mandatory, I guess, for
Yeah.
Yeah,
outside of
as
work
long-
hours. Yeah.
Totally agree. Okay, those were really, really great insights, guys. Okay, let's proceed to the second situation. The client observes the VA being so hardworking, and so the client offers another job position to have for the VA, but has increased the pay, have a higher pay, but more things on the VA's plate or tasks. What do you guys think?
Hmm.
I think that's
Red
normal.
flag, green flag.
That should it should be the norm.
I think
Yeah,
yeah,
'cause
yeah.
There are
I
other
agree.
VAs that like have like 2 or more job positions, right? So like,
Mhm.
what if the VA does not want? But just like, yeah, it's like,
Oh, so you can just decline, I think, the offer if that's the case. If you don't want if you don't want more task and more compensation or more salary, you can always communicate that. I think if they will also listen to our previous episode, that part of communication barrier, we can always address that through proper communication. Again, this is a cliche for a reason. Communication is key. So you can always communicate that if you don't want to have an increase and increase in salary and increase in task, then just let them know. And yeah, I think that sounds like a promotion actually. that the scenario that you mentioned.
Yeah.
So
So
Yeah,
it's
but
a green flag. Okay.
yeah, but if it's like the other way around, like you're gonna have twice your task and you're gonna have a 10% increase, uh, it's. I mean, it's still good. It's still a promotion, but the worst if they're gonna give you more tasks. Oh, you have a promotion, but you're not gonna have higher pay. You're just gonna have a better job title. Then that's a really bloody red flag for me. So, yeah,
Bloody.
bloody red flag. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's my opinion on that as
Okay.
well.
Thank you so much, you guys. Now let's proceed to Adi Sweet.
okay, so the first scenario is this is when it comes to hiring. Okay,
Mhm.
so you are in a client's position. So think that you are in the client's position. Okay, so you're hiring someone, and you've seen the resume of the VA that you're trying to interview that this particular VA has a very short employment timelines. So, meaning there are multiple experiences that you can see, multiple companies, but very short timelines. Like we're talking months,
Wait,
like
all of
six
it, all
months,
of
nine
his or
months.
her employment were like that.
Not everyone, not
Like
everything, but there are some. So majority,
some.
let's say majority in this case, majority of it are like giving like a hopper vibe. So hopper, guys, if you don't know that, so hopper is a term here in the Philippines when an employee is like hopping from one job to another. Yeah. So what's your take?
Not for me. It's
Oh, easy. Actually, yeah. This is my okay. I'll let you guys explain yourselves.
Yeah, it's obviously a red flag because, it's kind of suspicious to think that why are these like short time with each company? It's really suspicious. And you want, of course, when you hire people, right? You don't want them to be with you for a short amount of time. So it also gives you doubts, gives you hesitation to hire this person. So it must be very clear that you guys already set that kind of ground rule. And of course, it's really, since during the interview and all of that, you got to ask why. What are the certain reasons why these are the only months that you have with this company and all of that? It really matters as long as that person explains properly. But still a red flag either way.
mm, totally agree. But just a question. Let's say are those short-term employments in the latest employment, or it's like the early employment, or in the middle, like it's mixed up?
It's a mix. It's a mix.
Oh, I see. I mean, yeah, that's definitely a red flag. The reason I asked if it's because if it's at the start, maybe it's his first two companies, then he's just gonna last short time because I'm kind of like that before. If you're gonna look at my resume, actually, I removed one work experience in my resume. My very first job, I only lasted a week because I only
Duh.
last. I only
You're a
last
red flag.
Oh,
exactly.
Of course you have
I.
that on the
That's why it's a red
of course
flag.
you did that. You're a red flag.
I
Kidding.
know. I'm embracing that role, and yeah, but just to defend myself,
Just
that week,
kidding, guys.
yeah, that kind of job, it was my first job. I was just, I just a fresh graduate, and I'm just sending out my resume to everyone, and that particular company just accepted me, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll take this. Finally, a job, and that job happens to be handling lots of money and traveling to different places, which is really dangerous. And afterwards, after a week, you know, I just quit. So I guess it's a case to case basis based on situation. If the person's employments, the recent employments are like really good, it's just the start, then I can make an exceptions. But I need to know the reason at the very least why he was like that at first. And depending on his or her answer, then I'll consider it as a green flag and not as a red flag. So yeah. How about you, Sweet? Since you brought up the question,
Yeah,
maybe what's your
yeah,
opinion on that too?
I totally agree with the both of you. I think having multiple, I think let's put a number in it. Like if it's like five or more, five or more companies or jobs that they're just lasting at least 3 months, 1 month, that is really red flag with five or more jobs. So I think that becomes a habit. When it comes to hiring process, first impression is also one of the biggest factor. So, but when you see, I guess if it's, I think let's put when it comes to like the numbers, if it's like the considerable amount of job hopping that you did, maybe 3 4 with at least like 6 months to like a year of work employment timeline, I think that is still acceptable. So it also depends on the situation and the reasoning of the particular employee that who is applying for the job, or applicant, I mean. So I think because sometimes there are also applicant who are very like extremely applying their boundaries when it comes to their job. So when they feel like their job is not aligned to what they really want in their bigger goal, they just quit. They just quit right then and there. So just like what happened to Dwayne, he thinks that the job was very dangerous and not, you're not in the safe space, you're not in the safe place. So you, of course, with human instinct, it's just fair to, leave that job and find a greener pasture. So yeah. So next scenario, this is when it comes to like us as an employee. So let's put ourselves as an employee. So the client is very transparent when it comes to the billing and pricing, meaning everyone else's salary, you know everyone's salary in the company. So they're very very open to that. Hmm. I think as a curious
Another
person.
red flag. Another red flag, but I'm gonna
Ooh.
lean towards a red flag.
I love the separation. Opposing
Wait,
two.
wait, wait. On the second thought,
No, don't get influenced by us,
no, no,
Lee.
no, 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 no.
No, you're
Reason why.
influenced. You gotta say.
Wait,
Okay, okay,
let me explain. No, no, no.
okay. Explain
Okay,
yourself.
reason why I've said green flag at first, because I'm putting myself as an employee and as a curious person. So I was like, oh, so if this person earns this way, so what can I do for me to earn also that same amount? So for me, I'm having that thought of like, it's like having like a gauge or a benchmark on how to improve myself. So that's my take on that. Having the employees perspective. But on the second thought, the reason why I also switch on green red flag, it's also like a security and the privacy of also of each of employees to like having that privacy when it comes to their salary, and also like the value that they're giving to the company. I think that also varies. So, and it also can be a root of like misunderstanding to teams, maybe to or the company as a whole. So how about you
Okay.
guys?
For me, I would say it's a red flag if you're in the same company. But if you're gonna compare your salary with another person in another company, like okay, he's doing the same tasks, the same position that I have in a different company, and he's getting paid so much more. So I guess that's reasonable. Maybe he's just in a better company. And but if it's like if you found out that the exact same tasks are being done with the same position as you are in the same company, then it might either demoralize you, like, oh, okay, the company probably likes this person more, or makes you inspired, like, okay, I need to work hard so I would get the same salary as him. But I think the latter is more likely to happen. No, the former is more likely to happen, to be demoralized based on what I know about a lot of Filipino traits that we have. So I guess the best for me is to just not share it if it's within the same company. But I'm down. I'm all out for supporting salary transparency, because everyone should know their worth, as we've talked about in the first episode, it's how you sell yourself is the amount you're gonna get. But that's also the reason why a lot of people, especially here in the Philippines, are underpaid because they don't know their actual worth. Like they're gonna get paid minimum wage, doing maybe more tasks than someone doing the same thing in a different company. That's why a lot of the companies here in the Philippines would tend to really underpay the people because it's supply and demand. They know that the people are in need of this job, so they would just take anything. And I have my experiences on that as well. That's why I can relate to that. And so, short answer to that, I'm down for salary transparency in a global. If it means that you'll just know your worth in general, like let's say a programmer is paid this much, so yeah, that's pretty much it. But if within the same company, it's more of a
Tricky.
negative thing. Yeah, it's tricky.
Yeah.
So that would really cause some confusion or some discrimination, that kind of feeling in the office. So, that's something that I would rather not have if I am an employer, to keep that privacy and, to maintain that kind of healthy working environment where everyone just treats everyone the same.
On my end, going with the situation that Ati Sweet mentioned, it was totally a red flag for me. Because to think that your boss is already giving transparency for everybody, it's out there, it's out and about, the rates out there. You could always ask the HR, if you want to benchmark, if you want to increase your pay more, you can always ask the higher ups how you would want to improve your salary more. So you could just ask them, give a query like, what can I do to increase, or like, what are the certain salaries these other people have, but not specifying which or who. It could be a job position or what.
Mhm.
But like as a person working also outside of a company, in bands and in different fields or industries, it's also a red flag to know their rates, unless it's not actually a good thing to disclose somebody's personal rate, like your talent fee or whatsoever, unless the client does mention that, oh, this other person is this other person's rate is like this. So it's totally fine if it's the client. But when you compare each other, it's kind of like, just like what Kudwain mentioned, it's the self-worth really matters there. So maybe it's a battle between yourself. How are you going to improve on it? And you can just ask the higher ups, ask a query, what are these certain, what is the most highest salary you guys have, and how can I achieve that kind of salary? So it kind of is depending on the situation. But like for me, at the top of my head, as at the seat mentioned, the whole situation, transparency, especially coming from the boss, and then the salaries out and about, it's totally a red flag for me.
At the end of the day, it depends on the person whether he or she wants to disclose or not his or her salary. But
Yeah.
if it's like mandatory that you're supposed to do it, then yeah,
Yeah,
that is a red
exactly.
flag.
The situation
Yes.
for me, it was kind of mandatory on the situation.
Hmm.
Okay, yeah, so that is it, guys, for our episode called Red Flag, Green Flag. So if you want more episodes like this, don't forget to click that follow button or leave a comment here in the comment section so we will know about your thoughts. And what are also, you can also comment like what do you think are the workplaces red flags or green flags? Yeah.
Yeah, and with that being said, you guys, thank you so much, you guys, for tuning in once again on the Sphere Rocket Podcast Network presents Cosmic Couch. We are now signing off. See you again on another episode. Bye. Thank you, everyone.